Hello and welcome. This is the newsroom for today, Monday, February 8, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarsi TV in Bartica. In the headlines, Exxon producing at full capacity of 120,000 barrels of oil per day as the company races to fix a damaged gas compressor that has now put flaring 1 million above the 15 million cubic feet it is permitted. Guyana to share 500,000 AstraZeneca vaccines pledged by India to the Caribbean. Students among 27 new COVID-19 cases in the community of Ramadan in the Upper Mazaruni. And in sport, President Irfan Ali talks of importance of sport and national development. And debutant Mayors hands West Indies historic test win over Bangladesh. With the news, I'm Neil Marks. We're glad you could join us. More than a week after it announced damages to a compressor on the Liza Destiny and then later said it had reduced production to keep flaring at a minimum, ExxonMobil Monday said it was producing at what has always been stated as the maximum production, that's 120,000 barrels of oil per day. During a virtual media briefing, President of ExxonMobil Guyana, Alistair Routledge, explained that the company was addressing the issue seriously and working around the clock to get the compressor fixed so that flaring can discontinue.
You know, this is not clearly where any of us want to be, but given the circumstances, what is the best approach and the right balance for the country? So we are currently producing around, as the Minister said, around 120,000 barrels per day. At that level, we're currently flaring at about 16 million cubic feet per day. Mike and the teams are working hard to try to minimize that flare as much as possible every day. But just to put it in context, I mean, the power plant, the Kingston power plant, has higher emissions than the flare we're talking about. So, you know, this isn't an extreme emissions. And in oil and gas operations, flaring is a flare is a necessary safety system, and over the life of an asset, there are periods where you need to flare as part of transitions, of startup, shutdown. That's what the facilities are designed for.
The compressor failed on the night of January 27, 2021, and ExxonMobil had subsequently announced that it had reduced production. An initial examination determined that the unit had to be sent for repairs in Germany, where it is expected to arrive on February 9. The full extent of the damage will not be known until a detailed inspection of the compressor can take place at the workshop of the manufacturer. India has joined other countries in donating vaccines to the Caribbean region, with Guyana set to receive its quota of 500,000 doses donation within the coming days.
Guyana will soon receive a boost in its COVID-19 vaccine distribution capacity with a donation from the Indian government, with India pledging the donation of 500,000 of its AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines to the Caribbean. Guyana will be appraised of the quota it will receive in coming days. This is according to Indian High Commissioner to Guyana. The Indian High Commissioner, speaking during a virtual media briefing, assured that the 500,000 doses of vaccines for the Caribbean region will be all donations rather than commercial supplies. With Barbados and Dominica's vaccines already dispatched, the High Commissioner said the vaccines are being distributed to the regional countries on a first-come, first-served basis.
See, there is no delay. It's basically we are working on first-come, first-served. The countries which asked first, they are being catered to. Then we are working on the next set of countries who have asked for their quota, because, you know, we also have a limited supply of vaccines, so we can give on a first come first served basis. So as a region, they are working out based on the requests that have come.
He also said Monday that Guyana would also get access to more vaccines from India, particularly the highly effective Covaxin vaccine being developed by the Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech International Limited. During the virtual media engagement, the High Commissioner was joined by Director of BBIL, Saritra Ella. The details of the Covaxin vaccine has already been sent to Guyana's Ministry of Health. The health officials are now in contact with BBIL to procure vaccines. As Ella explained, with storage temperatures set at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius, the vaccine is good for countries like Guyana with remote areas.
Most of our vaccines are at 2 to 8 degrees centigrade, which is very easily transportable in cold chain. We can airlift it from India from Hyderabad, in the city where we are from, to any part of the country, and it reaches within 6 hours or 8 hours. Even international locations, we normally can reach under 48 hours. So this is how the temperature being very, very amenable, being 2 to 8, which is even in Africa, countries like Africa and Southeast Asian countries, this is a big challenge in the low income countries or across the world.
An efficacy trial was recently completed on the 2 doses of Covaxin vaccine, with data expected by March. Covaxin has already received emergency use authorization in India for use by all first responders of the medical community. With 6 vaccines produced in India, the country is looking to produce some 800 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines and has already gifted some 6 million to 15 countries across the world. Guyana has also received a pledge of 22,000 vaccines from China and will procure some 104,000 through the COVAX facility and another 145,000 through CARICOM African Union Agreement. The government remains in talks with other bilateral partners and has promised that all vaccines will be administered free of charge to all Guyanese, starting with frontline workers, the elderly, and persons with comorbidities. For the Newsroom, I'm Kurt Campbell.
Over the weekend, 27 new COVID-19 cases were recorded in the small Amerindian village of Ramadan, located in the Upper Mazruni region. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony on Monday revealed that students are among the new cases recorded. Ramadan has now recorded a total of 71 cases. Meanwhile, the Minister of Health said that discussions are ongoing with the Ramadan Village Council on whether to lock down the village in an effort to contain the spread of the dreaded disease. Meanwhile, another COVID death was recorded on Sunday, taking the number to 181.
Ramadan remain a place of interest for us, and over the weekend we did additional testing there, and unfortunately we have a number of additional cases. So we have a doctor on site that has been working with the community. We had sent in another medical team from Georgetown to assist. That team initially assisted in Ramadan, but then moved on to the other villages in the Upper Mazruni. So in the light of seeing some new cases over the weekend, we are going to bring back that team into Ramadan and probably see what additional measures we can put in place. So there is an ongoing discussion about those measures, and we'll be working with the community to ensure that we reduce the amount of cases. Those persons who have tested positive are currently in isolation. The community center in the village is being used as an isolation center. And there were students who have tested positive. There are 4 dorms at the secondary school there. So one of those dorms would be utilized as an isolation center for the students who have tested positive.
25-year-old minor Daniel Paris was on Monday remanded to prison for the murder of 60-year-old Peter Gonzalez, a building contractor who was gunned down during a robbery on December 7 last. Paris of Defield Sophia Georgetown appeared before Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan and was not required to plead to the charge. Gonzalez of Pursuit Kitty was gunned down in front of the Red Bar on Garnet Street. He was on his black and white Honda XR motorcycle and was reportedly being trailed by Paris and another man on a motorcycle, and was shot multiple times after he tried fighting off the 2 men who eventually escaped with his motorcycle. The Newsroom understands that Paris was arrested by ranks from Police Major Crimes Unit on February 4th. He reportedly confessed to shooting Gonzalez and took police to find the stolen motorcycle. Paris had just completed an 18-month term for robbery on the arms. The police had previously arrested Paris's accomplice, 28-year-old Casey Helliger of Shellroad, Kitty. On December 12, Helliger was arraigned in court for the crime and was remanded to prison. In August 2019, he was freed of the murder of money changer Sean Fabulous Nurse after a preliminary inquiry found insufficient evidence against him. As Blairmont Estate, West Coast Berbice, prepares for the first crop harvest for this year, the Chief Executive of the Guyana Sugar Corporation, Saison Singh, says his mission is to bring the industry to viability. Danica Paul reports.
As this is the new management's first crop production, It is their opportunity to re-engineer the estate and drive the outcome according to a new 5-year plan. The strategic subcommittee of the Gaisuku senior leadership crafted a strategic plan in January 2021 to take the industry to viability.
The foundation of our plan basically rests on increasing our revenue stream, attacking our non-value added costs, but more importantly, ensuring that we deliver on the manifesto promise of His Excellency the President.
Blairmont will continue to produce sugar efficiently so the jobs of some 8,200 workers in the industry can be preserved. Singh said the mission is to push value-added packaged sugar both locally and in overseas markets. To this end, they are about to expand the operations at the Edmore packaging plant and the Blairmont packaging plant.
Gaisuku will be spending about $600 million on these projects to make sure that we put more lines in and so that a greater share of our production, as I said, we're going to quadruple our packaged sugar over the next 4 to 5 years. That is going to be available on the market.
The CEO complained about the deplorable state he met the estate in and the billions of dollars that were lost in equipment. However, he is very confident with the team he currently has. Though there are plans for Blairmont, the CEO said it will take dedication and constant hard work.
But this turnaround is not a marathon. It will require careful, deliberate, and conscientious actions and work plan. And we have the foundation, which is the strategic plan. The 5-year strategic plan is in place. So this is not a hurry-up job. At all levels, we've been encouraging and retraining our staff to be very cost-conscious, to be very focused on the market.
Despite the criticisms, the CEO said Gaisuku is superseding expectations of many, and he hopes to continue on this positive path.
One of the sugar union, in my first meeting with them, says Gaisuku will only produce 77,000 metric ton. Well, the workers of Gaisuku came together with some tweaks, and they produced 11,000 more than that projection. The target for 2020 was 88,868 metric tons. And the production for 2020 was 88,868 metric tons. The target for 2021 is 97,420 metric tons.
In moving forward to a prosperous sugar industry, Singh encouraged all able-bodied ex-sugar workers to turn back to the sugar industry.
I want to make a call to all ex-sugar workers. This is the time to rejoin the sugar business. The targets are real, the targets are achievable, and they've never been this achievable than any of the last 5 years. In this regard, we're calling on all able-bodied ex-sugar workers to return to Gaisuku to help us beat this target. But at the same time, in beating the target, there is more on the table, the dinner table for your families.
Reporting for the Newsroom, I am Danica Paul.
More news after the break. Stay with us. This is the Newsroom. At the age of 16, Camille Deuki started her career as an educator. That was 25 years ago. She began by teaching 12 children from her neighborhood in her father's garage. Today, she's the Chief Executive Officer of Camilles Academy. Thanks to her fantastic team, her business not only pulled through the COVID-19 pandemic last year, but it also thrived. Recently, she received a Women in Business Award from the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Just at the age of 16, completing high school, my dad was a contractor at that time. I felt I can do more, and a few neighbors would have approached me and asked to help with their children since I would have succeeded at the CSEC. I seized the opportunity, started with just 12 in my father's garage. But as much as I was helping the neighbors' children, I was also contributing to my father's business growth at the same time. And you know, as I was reflecting in 2020, coming into 2021, I'm thinking, wow, we have made so much progress over the years. At one time, I was doing 4 things. I was teaching the neighbors' children as lessons in the afternoon. I was helping my father in his business. I was attending the University of Guyana, plus I was also doing a part-time job in Georgetown. And this was not the ideal plan for me. I pursued accountancy during high school and I wanted to work at a bank. But I would often say, the Almighty probably had a bigger plan for me. Within a year, 20 children grew to 65, and that is how it evolved. That today, we closed off in the pandemic, serving 1,000 customers, 2 locations, currently with 3 locations, and online, pretty soon it'll be 4 physical locations. I feel very excited to be recognized, for our achievement over the years and for the contribution that we would have made in 2020 within the education sector. I think that is worth celebrating. And as much as I would have received the award, I honestly believe it should be credited to all of the women, who would have contributed to this success during 2020. We've listened to the President of the Chamber of Commerce in his opening speech talked about resilience, and that is exactly what it took to get through the pandemic, not just for your business to survive, but rather thrive. What contributed to that is great teamwork. Use everything. For me, it's either you win or you learn. There are no failures where we're concerned, and the pandemic hit. At first, we saw it as a challenge, but when you really understood it for what it really was and what we had to do, we had to adapt really fast. Smart School in itself talks about a lot of innovation within the classroom. You're incorporating a lot of technology within your curriculum. And ideally, that was the plan before the pandemic. But with that coming, last year, March, you had to do it. So this location, if you visit the classroom, will be what a typical classroom looks like as a teacher gets in her physical classroom when we get official, permission to open school. She'll be teaching from a projector. And, for me, I find that this is the new way of teaching. This is how you can capture the attention of the children. And as you enter a classroom, you connect a projector screen, you teach with PowerPoint slides. It's more interactive teaching. You bring in little videos that stimulates learning, because more and more we're having visual learners, and this is what the kids will more adapt to. And I firmly believe, and we have seen that in the last 6 months, that this is what really attracts and captures the attention of the children, the innovation that you can bring within the classroom. So it's shifting from a traditional classroom with chalkboard and a lot of lecturing and discussion from textbooks and having the kids open to a particular page. It's no longer going to be that. Camilles Academy. We've rebranded. Yes, we've rebranded. It's now Camilles Academy Inc. It's an incorporated business. We're no longer operating as a sole trader. So now I'm actually accountable to a group of people, and these are investors. So 4th location is currently under construction. We have an investor, and that is in Crane on the west side. So after the 4th location, we will redirect our effort into upgrading our Diamond location to bring that up to the level of a smart school, a typical smart school as well. And I see within another 3 years, my biggest goal or my plan is to start giving back, because it would have been 25, 30 years within this industry. And ideally, my plan as an educator is to start a non-profit organization, but pretty much engaging children with different abilities. A school with special education needs. This is one way I want to give back. I would prefer to see more of a collaboration. And that is something I've been really pushing for, and that is why when the pandemic is over, I would really like to be the person or the person behind getting back a private school association. We must all have one common cause. Currently, I am out of the classroom, but I would love to go back in, because that gives me a direct experience to know my learners. And all of the years, this is what I still do. At least I try to keep one subject at a CSEC level. So I took a break because I'm currently pursuing a PhD, but I will get back into the classroom. This is something I love doing.
When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather and bridge reports along with sport. Welcome back to the newsroom. It's time for sport and we begin with cricket. Led by a magnificent unbeaten double hundred from debutant Kyle Mayers, the West Indies inflicted a 3-wicket defeat on Bangladesh in the first test. Mayers made 210 as West Indies reached the huge target of 393 in the final session of the match. The victory ensured West Indies cannot lose the 2-match series. Here's a look at the highlights of the final day.
Overnight batsmen resuming their innings quite effectively, particularly Mayers, who was more prepared to go on the attack. There were some scary moments, reviews not taken, always a difficult component of the game for modern captains to know when to and when not to. It's not easy. A fortuitous 50 shot for Kyle Mayers, his first in Test matches. Then an outside edge dropping short. Another review was not taken. Hawkeye showing that it would have gone on to hit plumb into leg stump.
They played some very good looking shots off the back foot, especially Myers. Hardly missing an opportunity, and with two contrasts in terms of batting styles. One taking a little bit more time, someone like Bonner, but Myers was eyeing up to pick up boundaries. 11 fours and a 6 in his innings of 91. That review was taken. And it suggested that it would stay on with the umpire, Scott, who decided to give it in favor of the batsman.
The same pair which started the proceedings in the morning for West Indies, both of them didn't look tentative at all, but they knew exactly what their approach needed to be. Anything outside the off stump was left alone, anything that was pitched up was driven. And Nkrumah Bonner getting to his first half century and then looking to attack as the game progressed. Bowlers kept asking the questions from Bangladesh. A few close shaves, a couple of reviews, and then the boundary, a scratchy one, but the 96 prior to that was an excellent effort from Kyle Mayers to get to his maiden 100. And since then, both these batters have just cut loose in their own fashion, driven really well, and they've punished the bowlers with anything loose that was on offer. Last over before the break, an opportunity was created, missed by Liton Das, the keeper, and the West Indies go into tea.
This team, they'll get better. They were just on the wrong side of the ledger today by some excellence in batting from Nkrumah Bonner and Mayers. There were opportunities. There were reviews that weren't taken in this session. Bonner went. Blackwood rushed it. He had a rush of blood. But there were opportunities.
Yeah, we're talking about it being simple, but you're absolutely right. The opportunities were there, not taken. A few drop catches, a few reviews, if taken, could have changed the course of the match. But it's all under the bridge. It's what matters. And the way they manipulated the balls, the way they struck the big boundaries and the over boundaries, the boldness showed here by Kyle Mayers has been absolutely incredible. Blitzkrieg of an innings on the 4th innings, and that's very important on the 5th day. And the wicket that's taking turn absolutely exceptional performance here.
200 came up for Camilles. A historic innings that sealed a historic win. He lost Joshua Da Silva just before the end, but Da Silva has shown, along with so many others, that he has a bright future in the game. Kemar Roach came and went. That was okay. So Mares appropriately hit the winning runs. It is his moment, his day, to share with his teammates. Bangladesh 430 for 10. You think back to Headingley 2017 and the Headingley heist. West Indies 259 all out. Bangladesh declaring 223 for 8. And the West Indies 395 for 7. Appeal for Mahdi Hassan, who has had an outstanding test match. They just could not do enough in the absence of Shakib on this final day. West Indies by 3 wickets.
That's it from me, Neil Marks. Avinash Ramzan has the rest of the day's sport.
We tell you now that Shakib Al Hassan has been ruled out of the second test against West Indies beginning in Dhaka on February 11 because of the left thigh injuries that kept him away from large chunks of the action during the first test in Chattogram. According to a BCB statement, the board's medical team will continue to treat Shakib, who will, however, leave the team's biosecure bubble for the time being. Shakib picked up the injury during the second day's play in Chattogram when he attempted to stop a ball off his own bowling with his foot. He continued to bowl for a while longer, but neither batted nor bowled after leaving the field later that afternoon. The Georgetown Softball Cricket League Inc., in collaboration with Guyana's Honorary Council of Florida, Ramzan Roshana Ali, will host the President's T20 Softball Cup in Guyana from March 5 to 7. Details from Akim Green.
Main patron of the tournament, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Dr. REFRAIN Ali, was present at Sunday's launch, held at the Everest Cricket Club. In his feature address, the President stated the greatest output of sport is its ability to unify people.
The greatest output of sport is its ability to bring people together, its ability to unify people, its ability to break down social barriers. You might see a child of a very wealthy family depending heavily on a child from a very poor family to be successful as a team on the field of play. Sports has many intangibles. So the first fundamental that we have to fix is to ensure we remove the disparity when it comes to sports across the country. We have to invest in the facilities, the programs that would give our young people, our people all across this country, an opportunity to be the best they can be in varied sporting.
The President further revealed they have embarked on a project to have international standard multi-purpose stadiums in each region, and have already started in 3 regions. More so, they will invest in the human resource potential, starting with programs in the schools, the community level, regional level, and national level, and ensuring there are sport facilities or coaches in districts. Meanwhile, Anand Sanasi, Secretary of the Guyana Cricket Board, expressed softball has played a great part in opening up back this country, given the tension they were under because of the serious pandemic.
Softball has played a great part in opening up back this country, so that the tension we were all under because of this serious pandemic that has been going on. And cricket as a whole has brought some relief to our citizenry. I would hope that you have a safe tournament. You always have the support of the Guyana Cricket Board. Once I'm around, then you can count on that.
Speaker of the National Assembly and President of the Everest Cricket Club, Manzoor Adir, spoke on behalf of Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Charles Ramson Jr., and expressed that the Minister offered congratulations to the President and the Softball League for initiating another worthy program for sport in the country. Nadir added that the Minister said he will support sport at all levels and across the entire country, and said all these competitions do not compete but complement the work towards the wellness of the nation. Winning teams in each of the 3 categories, Legends, Masters and All-Stars, will pocket $500,000 and the runners-up $100,000. Man of the series in each division cups a 32-inch TV, and man of the match in the final gets a trophy. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
The spanking new $84 million gaming center located at Mandela Avenue, East Ranville, Georgetown, was officially opened on Friday afternoon. Here again is Akim Green.
Colorful, giving back to the country, great ambiance. Those were some of the opinions expressed by the audience at the opening of Guyana Lottery Company's first video lottery terminal, VLT, and gaming center, which comes under the brand Blast. It houses a total of 35 VLT machines, 14 on the ground floor and 21 on the upper floor. The ground floor also houses a virtual gaming room under the LetBet Sports brand. GLC General Manager Tracy Lewis described the center as a one-stop shop, as persons can purchase lottery tickets, food, and beverages will also be on sale. Speaking to Newsroom Sport exclusively on the sidelines, Lewis indicated that about 15 Guyanese are employed at the facility, most of whom are from the community.
Yeah, well, we found that, this is the virtual lottery brand under Blast. And we really have, we found that we have 25 agents countrywide already, as far as Port Kaituma, Kokwani, and so on. And we do have agents in Georgetown. The thing about video lottery terms is that you need space. And so, we think we've really saturated those agents who have kindly given us the space to put our machines in. And you need at least 8 to 10 of those. So we realized that it's a growing brand. And we really felt as a company who's been in Guyana for 24 years that we really ought to have a company-owned store that we could hold a little more, some more machines, and really spark the interest of those who are interested in this kind of gaming. Sports, like you mentioned, is a growing phenomenon. People like virtual sports, people like to bet on their favorite teams. We're finding that that's also growing. So what more than to have all our products in one place? You can also, when you're here, purchase a lottery ticket. So, it's a one-stop shop in a community that we feel will benefit from our space here.
The general manager reminded persons must be 18 years and older to play, know the limit, and play within it. Let's Bet Sports brand ambassador Roel Choney explained that since they launched the brand 2 years ago, the objective was to ensure it remains genuinely Guyanese, and they have been giving back to nearly all sport disciplines in Guyana.
2 years ago, when the company would have launched their Let's Bet Sports brand, one of the things that the general manager asks is to ensure that it's Guyanese, authentic. Over those couple of years, we sponsored almost every single discipline, including being one of the largest sponsors for cricket in Berbice until now. And we've been giving back to sports in particular in every single discipline. Gregory Richardson is a household name in football, and there's also a portrait there of Mr. Stephen Jacobs, another household name in the sport of cricket. Two of the biggest brands under the Let's Bet and sport betting brands of the Guyana Lottery Company.
Due to social distancing rules, only about 60 persons will be allowed in the venue at any given time. The center will be open 7 days a week from 10 hours to 21 hours 30. COVID-19 tips have been placed on all of the VLTs. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
Now, Windward Islands Volcano started the CG Insurance Super 50 Cup with a 31-run win over Leeward Islands Hurricanes on Sunday. Kevin Stout with 86 and Sunil Ambris with 70 took Volcanoes to 284, with Quinton Botswain getting 4 for 45, Shino Berridge 3 for 65 and Hayden Walsh Jr. 3 for 79. Despite 112 from Nitish Kumar and 46 from Ross Powell, Hurricanes fell short at 253, with Preston McSween, Larry Edwards, Ray Jordan and Kieran Kotoy taking 2 wickets each. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for listening.